Hello everyone. I hope you all keep in peace of mind. Some people are super hyper confused like this in life. Why? There is a reason why. Because pleasure of life is missing in their life. What in fact is pleasure? Can we define pleasure to something that gives us real happiness? In the end, we have to question what is real happiness. So I would like to basically divide the pleasure into few categories. One of the major category I put is material pleasure. Though we are born empty-handed, barehanded into this world, we gradually starting to develop liking the materials of this world. Yes, of course, material is very important for our livelihood, for our lifestyle. But people do start to like it beyond its necessity. Love of material. So this material do and in fact these materials do give a sort of pleasure to human being. So there is a pleasure lying in it. So whoever has the materials, immense abundance of materials, they are pleased. So this material pleasure is one thing in life. So what is next? Physical pleasure. There are various numerous types of physical pleasures you can think of in life. Bodily physical pleasures, for example, the appearance, how one looks, he is pleased with it. If someone is handsome or someone is beautiful, they are pleased with. They do various things based on that in their life because they know they are higher ranked. They are something or someone who is entertained in the world or accepted in the society better than most. So these physical pleasures are there. Some other physical pleasures are bodily organ. This kind of pleasures also there in life. So people who have this physical pleasure and who can afford this physical pleasure, they are also pleased in life. So what is next pleasure? Self-esteem pleasure. The pleasure that people trying to sort of achieve beyond their necessity, or to have something beyond their basic requirement, self-esteem, to have some kind of example if I can give. If someone has all the educational qualification, he still try to grab something more so that he will be recognized in the society with sort of kind of person who is well educated. So these kind of things are self-esteem pleasure. Or else, though, a very simple car would do for the purpose of a car actually to travel. So even though it is the same thing, so one would opt for something that would not in the end give the same result, but it is only based on his self-esteem because he wants to use this particular product so that he will be recognized in the society that he is using something very very expensive, for example Lamborghini or Ferrari. So these kind of things are giving self-esteem to people. So whoever have the self-esteem accomplished, they are also kind of pleased in society, in life. The other one is, like, I can categorize is revenging. Some people have the quality of revenging on others whenever they not feel good about others, when the others are good at it, when he or she is not good at it, they try to revenge on them. So they do everything in their entire life to revenge and undermine those people, to put suppress those people, and if they could do, they will be pleased. This kind of mentally disorder people also there, but this is very much on the higher rate of when you take the number of people in the world. It is happening among most people, revenging on others without knowledge or knowingly. It's happening wittingly or unwittingly sometimes. But will all this pleasure remain forever? That's a question mark. For that, there is another pleasure, is there? That's the true pleasure. I don't mean to say that this material pleasure or self-esteem pleasure or physical pleasure are not required, but on top of that, there is a real pleasure. That is inner pleasure, inner mind pleasure. This will remain forever with a person. To get this pleasure, one need to develop his or her self or soul. Even though how much you have material pleasure, if you do not have the inner pleasure, if you have not developed your soul to a certain extent that you can control yourself, you will never be able to happy on a long run. Even though how much self-esteem you have gathered, obtained, achieved in life, if you do not have the inner mind pleasure, you will never be happy in the long run. You are in your life, at some point you will miss the pleasure while having all these material self-esteem or physical pleasures. Even though how much you have the physical pleasure, the third one I'm giving the example, even though you have wife, or even you have a kind of life that others cannot get, even though you have 3 wives or how many number, or even you have the best body in the world, or you look smarter in public, highlighting your spotlighted, though if you are not pleased within your mind, all these pleasures will be in vain. It won't give any meaning to your life. You will suffer, you will mentally fall. You have to develop your inner pleasure. Inner pleasure only you can achieve by giving up, by sacrificing, by dedicating. You should have that quality. Even though you have so much of material naturally, or that you have gained, you have earned with your exerting effort, you should have the inner pleasure to give to others the materials that you have. Then you will have the inner pleasure. Otherwise you will continue to gain the material. You will only depend on the material pleasure, and again you will exert a lot of effort on that. To gain inner pleasure, you have to share what you have as material. Self-esteem is good, but you should not go beyond what you have to do. If you want only the self-esteem in life, this will not give the inner pleasure. Inner pleasure, as I said, has to be figured out with cultivating mind, with well composed mind. Even the physical pleasures, extraordinary physical pleasures, will not give the inner pleasure. So one has to develop the inner pleasure, inner mind self. This inner pleasure is the number one pleasure one can get in life. If that is missing, one will never be happy. So I hope, I anticipate that every